All right, joining me now on Inside TBT, Jontay Porter. Welcome to the show.
Appreciate you having me, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So obviously got you here because you have committed to play with Show Me Squad, the Mizzou Alumni. I need you to take it to me from when Phil approached you to now. How did you get, swayed to join this team?
Man, it's been a long time coming. So I've watched TBT in the past, and it's on when nothing else is really on. So it's really cool entertainment. Phil, I worked out with him on my off seasons. I'm back in Columbia working out at Mizzou Arena. So Phil got the GA job there with the new coaching staff, and he was putting me through workouts. And he brought up the fact that they're going to be making a Mizzou squad for that specific purpose of playing in the TBT. So he asked if I'd be interested. I was like, dude, I mean, it's hard for me to commit at this point just because who knows where my basketball career will be at that point. But if I'm available, I'm in. That sounds awesome, and I'd love to reunite with my guys. Some that played before me that I grew up watching, some that have played after me. So altogether, it sounds like a fantastic idea. And when he brought it up to me, I was all on board.
Yeah, that's awesome. So some of the guys that have been revealed, you're like the fourth or fifth commitment, but you played with Geist, you played
Yes,
with Mitch Smith. How excited are you to, get back on the court with those guys?
it'll be awesome, man. I've kept in touch a little bit with guys. Mitch, not so much, but I know they're both overseas doing their thing. And yeah, when I heard all the guys that will be a part of this squad, I'm like, no way will we at all be going into a game as a underdog. We have too many guys on the squad, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully, the chemistry is still there after all these years.
I love it. So sometimes it's a little hard for, Mizzou fans to keep up with Mizzou basketball, the guys that are in the NBA, the guys that are in, the G League overseas. So can you talk a little bit about, what your basketball career post Mizzou has looked like so far?
Definitely, yeah. My Mizzou experience kind of came to a unfortunate end with the knee injuries and all that. Went back to my sophomore year and got hurt before we ever played a game, so that sucked. But the year after that, I was still basically on crutches, and the Memphis Grizzlies, signed me after the draft and all that stuff. So took the first year after Mizzou to basically just rehab while being signed with the Grizzlies, and then the next year I was on full contract doing my thing, still battling injuries, honestly. Ever since I've left Mizzou, injuries has been a big part to play. Luckily, fast forward to now, I'm feeling a lot better. But yeah, I played it, was with the Grizzlies for a couple years, then got waived, and then took a year off to just rehab, get my body to 100% so that I can play a full season without holding my knees and everything. And then this past season, played with the Wisconsin Herd in the G League. So just a great experience overall to get some games under my belt since I really hadn't played real basketball like that since 2018 at Mizzou, my freshman year. So things are looking up for me. My basketball career, feeling really good now. And TBT is just another platform for me to go out there and do my thing. And I know there's always a lot of people watching, so I'm really excited to hopefully have a lot of Mizzou fans watching us as well.
Absolutely. So you put up some big numbers with the Herd this year, which was awesome to see. What was the G League experience like for you this season?
Yeah, it's a lot different than anything I've experienced basketball wise, just because college, you're doing everything for the school and you have a big fan base and all that stuff. NBA, the highest level of luxury you can get, and the G League's kind of a step back a little bit, which was a little bit different than what I've experienced in the past because all those guys you're playing with are all playing for the opportunity to get called up or go do something overseas eventually. So a little bit different, but the goal remains the same, and that's to win and look good while you do it. So as I mentioned earlier, it was good to just get a lot of games under my belt. I was lucky to land in a really fortunate situation in Wisconsin. They have a great organization with the G League and the NBA, obviously, and they let me do my thing and let me play with freedom, which is kind of what I've been used to with Mizzou, dating back to high school, so forth. So it was a really cool experience.
I'm glad you mentioned high school. So when I was a freshman at Mizzou, you would have been a sophomore or freshman in high
Yeah,
school in Columbia. I went to the one of your games. I forget where it was at, but I went to one of your games and you guys were the road team. And we went because we were like, oh, we got to see Mike, like Mike Porter Jr., got to go. And you had like a triple double with blocks, points, and rebounds. And I remember me and all my friends were like, okay, so now we know that there's another Porter that we should be excited about. And then, of course,
right.
you have your younger brothers that, of course, are great basketball players as well. My long-winded, question at the end of this is when rumors started swirling and it seemed like a possibility that you and your brother were going to be able to come back to Columbia, play for Mizzou, play together. What was that like? Take me through that.
Man, it was really just a unique time of our lives. We were obviously a little bitter about the whole situation with Washington and our godfather Lorenzo Romar getting fired, which meant my dad got fired. So we were all on board going to Washington, and then that whole thing happened. And like you said, the rumors started swirling. People started reaching out to my dad about possibly returning to Columbia, and it quickly returned from bitter sorrow, sadness of not being at Washington to just excitement and a little bit of giddiness to be able to go back to our home city and put on and kind of bring the excitement back to Mizzou basketball, which I think is what we ultimately did. So, yeah, it was kind of a whirlwind of emotions, but all in all, getting back there, me reclassifying to be there with Michael was just super exciting. And sure, we wish some things could have gone down differently with the injuries and whatnot, but all in all, I can't thank Mizzou enough for how they treated me and my family coming back. It's been awesome.
Do you have a game or moment from, your freshman year at Mizzou on the court that really sticks out to you?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of good memories. You even mentioned earlier before we started recording about the whole Georgia game. My brother coming back in the first round of the SEC tournament and all the excitement with that game, and then playing against Florida State in the tournament was really awesome. There's also some negative experience. I remember when we went to Rupp Arena to play Kentucky at Kentucky after we had already beaten them at home. That's the first time I've been kind of shell shocked. I think that was probably my worst game I had played. Maybe scored like 1 or 2 points, and we got blown out. I was just like in awe of kind of the legacy of playing in Kentucky Arena. And that was the first experience, like I said, where I've just been kind of looking up, shell shocked, and realized, this is a big platform. This is a lot to take in. And I think I've learned from it since then. Obviously, you still get jitters before a big game, but that's the first time. Because in high school, we kind of did whatever we wanted. We expected to win every game. But going into Kentucky and playing against those guys, those freshman phenoms, a lot of them that are playing great in the NBA now, was definitely an experience and not necessarily a great one.
Was that like Bam and De'Aaron Fox?
No, this was a little bit after that. There was like Jared Vanderbilt, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Kevin Knox, a couple other NBA guys. Not as good as the Bam and De'Aaron team, but Kentucky always has those guys that end up being great in the NBA, and that team is no different.
Yeah. You mentioned big environments, crazy environments. The Mizzou Kansas exhibition game before
Yeah.
the season was one of the craziest basketball environments I've ever been to. So when we're recording this, it hasn't been announced yet, but I'll tell you because when it's being released, there's a Kansas team in TBT this year. It's looking like you guys are going to be in, the same regional potentially. Would you want to see a Kansas TBT team in TBT, or would you want to avoid them?
Man, that would be sick. And it'd be a great revenge game for me. We ended up losing that exhibition game. It wasn't really an exhibition. There's a lot of pride on that game and a lot of fans that were backing us. So anytime you get a shot at Kansas, at least me personally, I'm going to take that shot. And hopefully, if that ends up happening, Mizzou fans show up and show out. We can get a dub after it seems like it's been a while since we beat them. So we owe them.
Absolutely. All right. Last question I got for you. It's presented by Chip Golf Company, which is the presenting sponsor of Inside TBT. They're a golf apparel brand specializing in uniquely designed golf gloves. Quick sidebar: do you golf ever?
I do occasionally. I might more if I get my hands on some chip golf stuff.
Oh, there you go. Thanks. I didn't even ask you to do that. That was great. So the question is, what's the best round of golf you've ever had?
No, honestly, for me, I do it casually. I've never even done a full 18. I always stick to 9, and I'm always the worst one in the group. I got my hands on a custom set of clubs, but I still have a terrible handicap. Too embarrassed to say on here, but yeah, it's something that I want to do now that I'm healthy. My back and knees aren't hurting me. My brother Michael both recently got clubs, and we're looking to hit the greens. So if you know any good courses around, definitely let me know.
All right. So who's our foursome? Me, you, Mike. We need the fourth. Who are you sliding in there as the fourth?
Man, it's got to be Phil Pressey. His little compact body. I know he's hitting 300-yard dingers. We'll see. But yeah, that'd be cool, man. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. That's a great foursome right there. Jontay, appreciate you coming on the show. See you hopefully this summer in a potential Mizzou versus Kansas game, potential Mizzou, Wichita State. That's why we love the TBT. We got to make it all happen.
100%. Yeah, it's where the dream scenarios come to life. So I'm looking forward to it. Thanks again for having me on, man.
Clocking out early, that's the dish I don't like. Been getting paid since I was riding on the bike. Hit the pedal with the 8th, hopping on the 9th flight. I've been chilling out of sight, I'll be at the bar tonight. Told the bartender, go and take my card to swipe. You try the same thing, but your card get declined. White rappers nowadays, no, we're not too hard to find. I'm so dapper with my ways, I'm gonna linger in your mind. Always told me good things will come to those who are patient, but I've been way too patient, writing bars in my basement. I'm anxious in the real world, it's time for me to say this. The basics, the talent in my mind, I can't waste it. My life is too safe, it's my time for it's taken. I'm baking my mind, every day it's the same ish. Lazy, my grind needs to get a new facelift. Coming from the underground and busting through the pavement. Rock with it, and lean with it. My team win it, my team win it. Now rock with it, and lean with it. My team turn up when I spit it. Now rock with it, and lean with it. My team win it, my team win it. Now rock with it, and lean with it. My team turn up when I spit it. Don't think that I'm playing because I'm saving the game, and I said that I will be more because oh yeah, that is so raving, racing and pacing around all these lanes in my lane, out my way, unless you're trying to pay me. Not from the playpen, it's coming from the jungle. When you hear the bell, you better be ready to rumble because I'ma grab the gloves and I'm gonna flex my muscles. Go ahead and spit some bars, but you're probably just gonna mumble. A lot of rappers these days really need to get them humble cause they think they at the top, they better stop before they stumble. Cause I'm swiping all their biddies while they swiping right on Bumble. And your girlie calls me daddy, but she only calls you uncle. But no, we not related, homie.